Welcome to LHS Live, every Wednesday morning from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Where you'll hear from new guests every week on relevant topics. Community-based, student-driven. And now, your host, Joe Roberts.
Welcome, Panther Nation, to this live stream of LHS Live. We're on LHSLive.net. We're here every Wednesday from 9:30 to 10. Always have new guests, and today is no different. Joined today by Mr. Bruce Stratton and Mr. Paul Henry. Glad to have you guys on the show today.
Glad to be here.
Super excited. We're going to be talking about something that is relevant to everyone in the immediate vicinity, right? Going to be talking about the hospital district, is that correct?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Okay, and there are loads of issues. I'm not super smart about that sort of stuff, so I'm going to turn it over mostly to you guys, and then when you say really smart stuff, I'll have to jump in and ask for clarification.
Well, you may never jump in.
Okay, so without further ado, Mr. Stratton.
Okay. Well, the issue that we're here for and that has been going on is the desire of the hospital district to build a new 51,000 square foot hospital at the intersection of 1011 and 146, and to build a 47 square foot clinic over in Dayton on 321.
It's a 47,000 square foot?
No, it's 4,700 square
Oh,
feet.
4,700, okay.
I'm sorry, too many zeros.
Well, that's okay. When you said 47, I thought, man, that's a small
Okay,
place.
all right. We got into the hospital business. The district was formed in 2005. We got into the hospital business in October of 2009, when we found out without warning that Frontier Healthcare, who operated the hospital, the current hospital, had up and left and locked the premises, had stripped the operating rooms of all of their equipment and other things. And so Paul and I jumped in with the hospital district, and we negotiated with the employees and the doctors, and we put up $1 million from the district into a special account and assured them that they would get paid. So they all got on board. We fortunately were able to operate and open the hospital in 2 weeks. And so since that time, we have been operating the hospital. We found out that Frontier Healthcare owed over $900,000 in back taxes they hadn't paid. They owed the city over $100,000 in utilities. They had not paid their 941s, and they had not paid their TWCs for the employees.
That's a lot of not paid.
That's correct. And over a period of time, we have taken care of all those debts. We've taken care of the 900,000. We've taken care of the 100,000.
So before you jump any further,
Okay.
just for some clarification, I know there's some hospitals and there's some things in the quote unquote area, but this is the only one that services the county, correct?
No, there's one up in Cleveland.
Okay, a smaller one, or is it bigger, same size?
I'm not sure. It's a bigger hospital facility, but I don't think they have it all in operation.
But it's still about a half hour away from
Yes,
us.
that's
Okay,
correct.
so about how many people does this hospital district serve? And I don't mean to throw curveballs at you. I don't know if you know that number or not.
Well, insofar as Paul Henry has some information on the amount
Okay.
of service that we have at
Our-
the clinic.
Our ER serves 8,700 people or visits a year. That's roughly 25, 26 per day. Now, a normal small county hospital like this might serve 4 to 6.
Okay.
We serve anywhere 20, 25 per day.
And so this is 8,700 people that were this hospital not in operation would have to go to Baytown or Cleveland
Beaumont.
or Beaumont or
That's correct.
Kingwood,
That's
and
correct.
then inundate their facilities.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right.
okay.
And it makes it more difficult for them to go to, say if you broke your arm and you got to go to Beaumont to be seen, and then you go through their system, which is a wonderful system, and then you come back home, you're worn out, where you can stop here, get it taken care of, and you go home in 15 minutes or whatever it might be.
Okay, so I guess really what I was asking was how important it is, and so it seems like it's exponentially more important as the day goes by.
It's extremely important because this hospital serves a lot of people and saves a lot of lives. And if it were to shut down, it would be a disaster to this area. And the beauty of this is that hospital is owned by the people of this county, owned by the people of the hospital district. When Frontier Healthcare was here, they were an outside entity. All the money they made went outside the district, outside the county, and it wasn't put back into the hospital. We have made a profit ever since we took over the hospital in 2009. And all of that money has stayed in this county and has been put back into that hospital and healthcare to elevate it. And we want the new hospital to move on and better serve the citizens of this area in the future.
So that's close to 15 years that the hospital made a wonderful turnaround, getting better every year. So what is the difference between what Liberty currently has and what is being proposed as far as beds, services, things like that?
Well, there'll be do you have the statistics?
Yes,
Paul,
sir. Just
on that?
1 second.
And again, I apologize. These
No.
things are beyond me, so this is why I'm asking
Well, we'll
these
forgive
questions.
you for not
Yeah.
bringing it up beforehand.
We're, next page.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about.
It's-
Yeah, we'll
it's
have,
light years ahead.
we
I
have
will say.
10 inpatient beds, 3 observation beds, 8 emergency rooms, 2 surgical suites. We'll have imaging, we'll have a clinic, we'll have rehab, and we'll have a helipad to take care of emergencies. If we can't, we can fly them to Houston and whatever.
And so, what is this beyond what is currently there?
Well, currently, we have maybe about 5 to 8 beds
Okay.
for inpatient. Now, inpatient is when you have a procedure or a bad case of a flu or something, and you come into the hospital, and we oversee you and we take care of you. The emergency room, which right now is probably our biggest access, takes care of people for a short period of time and then move them out to a big hospital if it's like a heart attack or whatever. Let's take the pandemic we've been going through now. I think it's very serious. July, August, and September, our emergency room was inundated by people that were sick. We weren't the only hospital. Every hospital in the state of Texas was full. So if we had a serious illness where they had to go for ICU, there was no place. We transferred people to Louisiana,
Wow.
New Mexico, to, get. We developed ICU rooms that have a external exhaust to
Mhm.
get that stuff out of the hospital.
Right.
We had 20 to 25 people staying in our little hospital, which is probably twice the amount that we were prepared for. But it was an emergency, and we had to do it. What we've done with our plans is we've tried to give ourselves flexibility so that the next time, which we hope never will be, the next time something like this has. We've got it all laid out where we can change rooms, settings, and take care of the people that need to be taken care of.
And something that the other rural hospitals don't have, we're gonna have a system where if we get into a pandemic or something of that nature, we can simply flip a switch and those rooms become negative pressure. The air in them, instead of going out into the hospital, will go up out onto the ceiling of the outside from the hospital. And this is a way that we can handle. We're looking forward to a pandemic or anything that may occur. Now let me jump over a little bit.
Okay.
What we're asking is that the hospital currently gets 9 cents on property taxes. We're asking for another 9 cents to be able to satisfy and pay for some bonds. Now we have 2 propositions. Proposition A is the authorization of the additional 9 cents, which would make 18 cents total. But this 9 cents is to pay for the bonds, and the bonds are authorized under Proposition B. There is no additional tax relative to Proposition B. It is all in Proposition A. So irrespective of the way it's configured, there will only be at the maximum 18 cents, and that will take care of everything. And we have renderings that we have trying to show at our town hall meetings. We have town hall meetings in Hardin on Monday night, in Liberty on Tuesday night, tonight's in Devers, and we have renderings. We show both the hospital and the clinic. You want to talk about, Paul, just a little bit about how we have been able to make a profit and pay for the things that we do, and how we are able to work it out where we have these additional funds. Paul is our expert on finances.
Well, I feel like I'm in the middle of experts right now. You know, they used to say that when Thomas Jefferson had dinner by himself, he was amongst giants because of how smart he was, and you guys are giants around me.
I don't think so.
I'm soaking it all in right now.
But we're a critical access hospital. Now that's a special designation, started about 15, 20 years ago, because the government was concerned about small hospitals like ours closing down. They couldn't make enough money serving just Medicare or Medicaid customers. They needed insurance customers. Like we have Exxon people coming to the hospital, they have better insurance than what Medicare or Medicaid pay. So they came up with a special status, and the federal and state governments have special programs to entice and help the hospitals improve their services, make additional money that will help us pay our bills, because hospitals are very expensive to run.
Right.
You have a staff, whether you have 1 person or 100 people, you've got to have that staff. And they also came up with a plan, and we might back up right here, but we participate in this state program, and that adds probably about $700 to $1 million into our income to help offset our cost. Also, we participate in a new program about 5 years ago, and it's participating with the nursing homes. And again, the federal government came in and they said, we need to help improve the nursing homes to upgrade their standards. So they came up with a program that's for the state of Texas is $2 billion that we went in and took over a number of nursing homes, roughly 26, and partnered with them, and we took our tax dollars and turned it over to the federal government to put into the system, and then they turned around and started paying back that money plus bonuses if we met certain standards to improve the system. And that has provided an additional $1 million or so. So different government programs that we have used to benefit the hospital, and with the growth of our people that are using the hospital is how we've been able to make a profit, improve the facilities, improve our services each year.
Are you
One
watching?
of the things with regard to the fact that this is operated by the hospital districts in 2009, all that money that Paul is talking about is owned by the people of this county. It goes into it. It doesn't go out. When Frontier Healthcare was here, it all didn't go into the hospital very much, and it went outside the county.
All right, you're watching LHS Live.net. We're just a little bit more than halfway through,
Okay?
and we're here with Mr. Bruce Stratton, Mr. Paul Henry. So just as just so I can kind of wrap my head around this, we have this little box, and we're going to call the box the hospital, and the box does X number of things for us. And now, because of the growth of the county and all the other things, we need to make this box probably twice the size of what it is now, because we're servicing twice the number of people. So am I hearing that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, I don't want to misquote President Reagan, but I'm probably going to do it. You know what he famously said, the 9 words that you never want to hear are, "We're from the government and we're here to help."
Right.
So there are going to be a number of people that are watching this or that listen or come to the town hall that are going to have a sour taste in their mouth because of maybe some poor experiences with the government, taxes in particular. And Judge Knight came on a couple of weeks ago, and he did a pretty good job of explaining taxes, and he had his paper out, and he was cutting stuff right there to kind of explain how that sort of thing worked. But I know people are going to get caught up on that 18-cent thing. And you talked about it a second ago, but I can just tell you from my perspective, I've got family that are going to get caught up on that because sometimes, you know, it feels like you get squeezed and squeezed.
Sure.
And maybe talk about that a little
Well,
more.
It's a trade-off.
Okay.
In other words, if you want, one of the biggest things in this country is health care. And that's what will supply us in the future. If you want good health care and for yourself and your family and a good location to in case of a medical need, then you authorize that additional 9 cents and build this hospital. You know, if you're not interested in it, you think you don't need health care, you want to go 35, 40 miles over to the big city and spend 45 minutes getting there, well, then that's fine. That's what this 9 cents will do away with.
So what is the real world impact for these babies that are behind me right now that aren't definitely, I mean, they're not in a position to make decisions and things, but how does this impact them in the future is what I guess I'm asking.
It impacts their parents and their grandparents as they get older. They will see them get older and need medical care. And if this hospital is there, it'll be first-class medical care. Now, we give first-class medical care at our current hospital, but there are limitations. We spend a lot of money repairing things at this hospital that a new hospital won't have to deal with.
Okay.
Let me give you a time factor. And these people will see it. I saw it in my life, my experiences. someone has a heart attack, they need attention within minutes, not within an hour. And I can tell you how many people that have stopped me and said, your hospital saved my life, because we were able to give them the block section. I forget the name of the chemical, but something that helps take care of that heart attack, so that can then take them to Houston. Had they driven straight to Houston, they might not have survived.
Okay.
So that's just one example. And before we get over, and I know we're running out of time, but the emergency room isn't the only service that we provide.
I want to ask about that, because I think maybe we're on the same wavelength there. I was having a conversation off air about this. So Liberty has, we have some wonderful physicians in the area,
Yes,
but
sir.
we don't have a bunch of them.
That's correct.
So is the plan with this new hospital, is the idea that this is going to attract people
Yes.
to come here and stay?
Yes, that's what they tell us. And see, we have 35 acres out there. We're only going to use 10 for the hospital. And the other will be used for, in the future, for doctor buildings and other things, to bring physicians in. And they tell us, you know, if we had a new facility, we would come. And staff would be able to get them here and provide a lot more services.
Because I feel like as somebody that, and I don't go to the doctor very often. I mean, I'm youngish and healthy-ish, you know, aside from the spare
Give
tire
you
I've got
free
there.
pass to the new hospital.
Okay. It's frustrating when you have a doctor that is only in the area maybe twice a week, and then you have to figure out how to line up doctor visits or whatever else. And so I guess that's why I was really asking, because I feel like other people are going to
Sure.
have that question.
Well, you gotta remember, the hospital is almost like 3 different entities. One is the emergency room that we spent, time talking about, very important. But we also have the clinic, and this is where we will have our doctors. Then we also have specialists come in to the clinic to take care of those particular needs. And that's what we're also going to put in Dayton, is a clinic. So we're adding more medical access to the area than there is right now. And then the third section is nothing's ever minor in a hospital, but we'll be able to do certain surgeries that we can't do now. So instead of, if you had a hernia, you have to go to Baytown. We'll be able to take care of that procedure, overnight stay or whatever it might be. So we'll be providing another additional service to the community so that they don't have to go out. And at your age right now, if you had parents here, and I went through this section of my life, to where in the middle of the night, kind of like a baby, they never get sick during the day.
Right.
In the middle of the night, your parents get sick, and they've got to have care now. We'll have an emergency room right there to take care of them. We'll have a clinic that they can go to the next day, if that's what it is, to be able to take care of their needs. So I think we're adding, I think Bruce will agree, more services and more capabilities for the area as it's needed.
I think so, and I would say that probably up into the 90% of all medical care we can provide in this hospital. We won't do real high-end things like heart surgery and brain surgery and things like that. But I want to point out one other thing. During the time that this hospital closed back in 2009, it is a pretty accepted item that there were 2 people that had heart attacks that this hospital could have saved, but this hospital wasn't open, and they died before they could get to another hospital. One tried to get to to Chambers County, and the other tried to get to Baytown. And had this hospital been open, their chances for survival would have been greatly increased.
So what we have right now, great for us, but because of the pandemic coming through, it exacerbated some problems that probably could have been fixed with some Band-Aid and duct tape, but it needs to go beyond that. Is that a fair assessment or not?
The pandemic didn't start this. We've been working on this for a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Developing, because we wanted to go out and have specialists look at our area. What services do we need?
Okay.
Do we need a hospital? You know, the whole works. So we've been working through this studying process with specialists. It's just not Bruce and I saying we want to do this, to develop what we need. And the good thing about the pandemic, that emphasized other areas that we need, so we could change our plans before we got started.
Okay.
We've had a lot of very elite individuals to tell us what we need to help us with the hospital. We have a specialty architectural firm, specialty contractors that do it, and we've had all kinds of studies done that help us to decide what we need to do and where we need to do it. So, you know, as Paul said, it's not just Paul and I. We have relied upon a lot of experts, and this hospital has been developed over a year and a half to the point where it is now.
All right, so I guess I'm going to ask you one final question here regarding Joe Public, and I feel like I'm right in the big fat middle of Joe Public. If I were watching this program, Bruce, what is the one thing that I could take away from this, going to the ballot box and feeling comfortable about voting yes for? What is the thing?
The one thing you're going to need in the future is medical care. And it is a small price to pay for first-class medical care for yourself and for your family.
Okay, Mr. Henry, same question. What's the one thing that Joe Q Public can take from this when they go to the ballot box?
Bruce had the best point. The second point is the hospital district helps others that cannot pay. We give them a benefit to get services when there's nowhere else for them to go.
Excellent. All right, you've been watching LHS Live. I've been here with two great men. I've known you guys for a number of years now. Never a bad conversation. Mr. Paul Henry, Mr. Bruce Stratton. Don't forget that on Friday night, check out LHS. No, don't check out LHS Live because it won't be there. Check out PantherSports.com. That's sports with a Z. We're going to be covering the Liberty Panther versus Orangefield game. That's going to go live at about 7:15. Again, LHSLive.net. We'll be back to you Wednesday. I'm Joe Roberts. See you next week.
Thanks for watching every Wednesday morning from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. New guests every week on relevant topics. Community-based. Student-driven. Don't forget to tune in next week for LHS Live.